Hey guys, it's Will. Hopefully you're having a great day today. So in this one, we're going to be going over Nebius stock. It's been making a lot of moves lately, and they might be completely overlooked as they have their earnings coming up. So we're going to talk about Nebius. Wanted to go into something that people think is an AI adjacent play, but they might be missing the shift with Nebius, which is that they just announced a major acquisition to build out their agentic AI, which is also a big piece. I don't know if you guys have seen all the news recently with things like Claudebot. Agentic AI is something that we practice and are working on inside of Prophecy AI, which is doing analysis, basically like what it sounds, agentic AI. Now, when it comes to the earnings this week, check this out. So today you had AppLovin, you had Vertiv. They were up big today when the market reported, or when they reported earnings. But then you got Nebius. They are announcing their earnings tomorrow morning, and that's going to be pre-market tomorrow morning. All right. So I'm going to be breaking down the Nebius chart, and check this out. We got the exciting earnings. We also got our first messages over in the StockMate community as we integrate it into a community section inside of Prophecy app. So this is so exciting. We're starting to see some members. We just started migrating. I didn't even announce it. We already got 16 members inside, which is so cool because it's a part of our Prophecy AI. So when it comes down to doing a lot of analysis, look, I'm going to go through some massive analysis of their GPU capacity, the multi-billion dollar deals they have, their backlog with the likes of Microsoft and Meta. You're going to see kind of a full 7-step analysis that we'll go through here, and it's actually brief. But I used to analyze high growth stocks like this, and I'm going to show you how I do it over and over and over again. But here's the reality. We're all busy. You're busy. To keep up with the stocks that move so fast, and the market moves so fast, there's a lot of great stocks here. But the earnings that are coming up tomorrow, do we know what's going on? Are we really monitoring these things 24/7? I don't have the time, and I'm doing this nearly full time. That's exactly why I've automated the entire system here to work with Prophecy AI. So we get the most advanced models in the world. We have Grok, OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini. We can stay ahead of the earnings and know that the moves and the volatility that are coming, we have some pre-priced in AI analyzations of what's going on the insiders, the institutions, what are the fundamentals looking like, the technical analysis. So if you want to be there for the big reveal of how to get access, click the link in the description, or I'll leave a link. Let me actually jump in with the chat here, and I'll just leave a link in the chat for you also. It's easy. So this is going to be the link. The fundamentals. Oh, hear myself. The link is going to be cash to assets.com/earlybird. This is for our early bird members. Okay, so there it is. I just left it in the chat for you all. Go have a look, join the first access list, totally free to join the list, so you can stay ahead of the markets. Join it. We're also going live. That's also why you're getting that link filled out. We're going live tomorrow. It's going to be February 12th, tomorrow, at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time to show you the system. So you don't want to miss it. And that's really it. All right. So looking at NBIS, NBIS is the ticker symbol. The numbers, we're going to take a look. There's 3 ways we break down a stock, and this is into that 7-step process. Number 1, we're going to look at the market. Number 2, we're going to look at the analysis. And then number 3, we're going to look at the profits, margins, and the risk. And so when it comes down to the market, they're in the data center market. So if we were to pull up Nebius stock here, let's go pull up their company, and we'll jump right into directly to their site here. And I see some people in the live chat. What's going on? Rich, how are you doing today? Doing well. Okay, Mark. I'm doing good. Mark, thanks for tuning in here. Good to see you here. Okay, so infrastructure for the age of AI, based in Amsterdam, listed on NASDAQ. and operating worldwide. AI is no longer a distant promise. This company is integrating massive GPU clusters deployed across Europe and the US. And Nebius's full stack cloud platform combines the scale and flexibility and reliability of hyperscalers. So essentially, they're powering a lot of AI companies through the cloud right now. So the cloud is a big piece, right? You can have Microsoft go spin up their own facility, but it's a lot of power. I mean, as you guys know, it's going to be a lot of setup, configuration to set these things up. Simply put, they're getting a lot of investor interest and they're partnered with NVIDIA. You can tap into NVIDIA's most powerful GPUs like Blackwell and use that computing power to run your AI company or run your back end of your new software. Or you look at all these top AI companies. Higgsfield is a really big one, and you got Genesis Therapeutics. You have the Ultra platform, and they got a webinar coming, which is really cool. They're going over in the Nebius multi-model LLMs development using NVIDIA's Blackwell. That's really cool stuff. And once again, we got a webinar. If you don't want to miss it, hit that link I just dropped in the chat. I will go ahead. I'm going to pin it there. It's pinned. So see that link there. You can go join on in for the announcement tomorrow. You'll love our new AI breakdown if you want to use those tools. So once again, solutions, data preparation, model training, all these things are tied into the data center market. And then their financials as they approach earnings tomorrow. Okay, so they've got their earnings coming up here tomorrow. It's really important to look at the AI market in general. Every AI company, or not AI company, but just tech company, has said they're going to spend more on data centers. We've seen that to be true. So every time we've looked at, it was APLD that just reported earnings a little bit for the last quarter. And then we also saw, IREN report earnings. And then you got Bitfarms even. Bitfarms didn't come in with a ton, but they also increased revenue quite a bit. All of those companies, they absolutely crushed it on the revenue side. Now, why is that? You have more investments from Apple, more investments from Microsoft, from Tesla into these companies. So NBIS is reporting earnings tomorrow. They got their earnings coming out. Their revenue for last quarter was up to 146 million. They've been increasing their revenue by 350% year over year, that is, excuse me. And the balance sheet is up to $10 billion. Now, institutions have been a little bit quiet, right? If we were to go jump into the data center market, if you look here at NBIS, it's actually trading, a little bit down today. We saw it recover from that dip here. We can actually hide some of the drawings. You saw it recover from the dip, but it's cooled off from 141 down to now 87. But as you can tell, so getting from the market, data center market, big companies investing more, all the earnings coming in very well. The real world usage is there. So I just went through, once again, markets growing, see more spending. Number two, you see the new real world usage of the data centers. That's becoming big. And then the next piece, we go from the market to the analysis. That's going to be broken down here into the financials, the news, and the charts. When we look at the chart here, you could take a look here. You got support level. It bounced the 200-day moving average. It is recovering. Institutions basically heating up the last 2 days. You see them recover from $68 back up to basically 85, about a 30% increase. So the institutions are heating up a little bit, and you do see some buying action taking place here on NBIS. Now here's what we got going. As they recover, and they're going to be reporting earnings once again tomorrow pre-market. So when they come out with their earnings tomorrow, one thing to watch, you got a couple levels, is super volatile. We just saw this $68 price point here. if that were to be any level that it targets or touches, I'm not going to be buying pre-earnings. However, we may, depending on how things look right after earnings, we may trade or buy right after earnings, which is perfect because we go live at market open every day. We're there right at market open, and they're reporting pre-market. So we might even see a market dip, a double. You got two things: the market dip along with the earnings dip. They might dip after earnings. Once again, I'm not saying, even though institutions are loading up a little bit here, I'm not saying to load up before tomorrow's earnings, because we've also seen some de-risking from the stock, or at least some sell-offs from their highs of 141. And so let's just wait. I'm going to wait to see where they come in, because they might dip all the way back down to 67 tomorrow morning. There's no telling how the reaction's going to be from the earnings unless we see them price in. What I can analyze here, this is what I could analyze here, is simply put, they got a resistance level that is descending right here. You can see them starting to get rejected. They are kind of getting this downtrend here. They might end up breaking out. So a break back above this $90 price range may indicate that we're going to see them recover back up into that 110. That's when you get that 20 to 30% increase potential there. Okay. So the free cash flow margin is negative 12.5%, says Guitar Bass Singing. For a high growth company, free cash flow margin of 15-20% or higher is considered excellent, as it indicates the company can fund. Yeah, not only do they have that Guitar Bass Singing username there, I don't know what your name is. You could always comment it. I'm sure I'll see you again. I'll remember it, as I do other people's names usually. They also have a lot of cash on hand, not just like the cash flow. They negative 12%. Negative 12%. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So one thing to consider is they have a lot of cash on hand. So what that means is, even if they were to have, let's say, a negative net income quarter, something like that, which they've had very positive net income quarters, they've had negative net income quarters. From a financial perspective, if they were to come in negative, their market cap at 22 billion, they might pull back, but they're still gearing up with this $5 billion here to their total assets. Okay, their total assets have surged over 100% here in the last year. So when we're looking at and look, the risk here is that they sell off at market open, they sell off back down to 68. But the technicals would indicate that they may get rejected at this $89-90 range. But if they break out above here, then we might see something new. Next level of resistance, if we just extend it over from what we saw back here into earlier in the year, it was a support and a resistance there, kind of that range up around 105. That might be a 10% margin if they were to break out. So there's some opportunities potentially at market open, but it'll be super volatile. So many times what we're looking at in the technicals is just a little more confirmation. But as you can tell, from left to right, we're actually consolidating right now. It's kind of going left to right here. There's not a lot of indication of exactly the direction. You might see that sell back down into the $70 range. We're kind of in the middle here. We might even get that run up to 105. So it's just from a technical perspective, right? This is pretty straightforward. It's just left to right. Let's see how they react at market open when they have their earnings report, and then we can potentially get in if the opportunity presents itself. Now, when it comes down to the financials, once again, you look at the cash flow, okay, net and cash change. You see the cash from operations. This is kind of what we're looking at. Cash from investing negative, cash from financing up to 4.2 billion. They're gearing up for that. But here's the thing: if you look at the company, you really look at the news, and we look for investors. You go to their published investor press releases that they've come out with. All right, we could see some interesting new deals that they've secured. Okay. First, Nebius debuts the Robotics and Physical AI Reward Summit. Startups with 1.5 million. So they're sponsoring some smaller companies. Nebius AI Cloud arrives in UK with one of the world's first advanced NVIDIA AI infrastructure deployments. So they're also partnered with NVIDIA in a lot of ways, as that's their main AI growing market, is the GPUs there. Then you got Nebius brings NVIDIA Blackwell to Israel with one of country's first AI infrastructure deployments. And they've also had some larger deals that they've been able to do in the Microsoft deals that they've had, and working with Meta as well. Okay, so they got a multi-billion-dollar agreement here with Microsoft for AI infrastructure. That was back in September. When they said multi-billion dollars, we didn't see the full amount here. Multi-year agreement, multi-billion dollars. Nebius expects to finance the capital expenditure associated with the contract through a combination of cash flow coming from the deal. And I love that that highlight on the page, really cool. And the issuance of debt secured against the contract in the near term at terms enhanced by the credit quality of the counterparty. So once again, they're pretty savvy on the funding. They have been getting a lot of cash. And so let's see, do they continue to ramp up revenue and grow their revenue again and continue this growth of over 350% per growing year over year when they come out every quarter with this earnings report that's coming out tomorrow morning. So that's going to be super interesting. Once again, we're going to watch there. When it comes down to the news, that's kind of what we're seeing. When it comes to the financials, once again, we went through it. Things are good, but let's just see how they come out with the earnings, and which stocks, are going to move kind of alongside NBIS is also a key factor. Let's see how general market kind of positions tomorrow as well, and that will help us. I'm really excited for our market live session tomorrow morning. It's going to be great, and we're going to run through the risk to reward. So once again, when we're looking at the risk to reward, you've got this consolidation from left to right. Nothing here that I could say, oh guys, look at this perfect uptrend. I mean, look, it's a sideways pattern here all the way from November. It's straight from left to right. The effective way to approach something like this is patience. There's nothing. I mean, you could enter right before earnings. Very high risk. I wouldn't do it personally. If you're just looking at history of the earnings, even if it goes up right at earnings, you're probably not going to see that sustain very much. Steven says, negative cash flow, part of the plan, growing to profitability. Last Choice says, did you go over Iran earnings as well, Will? No, we didn't go over that one. Ryan, what's going on, Ryan? How are you doing? If it sells down, is it a must buy at 70 based on the financials? No, I wouldn't call it a must buy. I'd say because there's still a premium that these companies, I mean, PE ratios at 71, you're still seeing the companies trade at a premium. It shouldn't be seen as a must buy. What matters more than a perfect entry is a perfect plan when you enter. And so that's going to be the key. We talked a little bit about that. Ryan, I think we were on the phone a while back, and I was sharing with you how, the risk to reward, you could enter right here in the middle while it's consolidating from left to right. We could go into Prophecy AI. We could pull up NBIS and look at the projections, and we could say, hey, how does this look? All right, we're seeing some projections over the next month. A little bit more on the, at least from Grok, a little bit more on the bearish side. I'd like to see, the projections here and kind of get an idea. But I'll tell you, if you were to look at the approach of, let's say you're watching here, you're saying, oh wow, pretty negative. What's going on here? What's with projections? We're seeing some volatility here, and then longer term timeframes look bullish for Nebius. You see that longer term time frames looking much more bullish. So it's like, what gives? Why would we see that? Well, because of the short term pressure that you're seeing on the markets. You see the volatility recently. Now, on top of that, if you were to enter, it doesn't matter if you enter at a top. How many of you guys have ever bought at the top and then watched it continue to go up? Or how many of you guys have ever bought at a support and then watched the stock continue down, right? I'm not here to say, all right, this is the perfect level here, Ryan. If you buy right here, this is like you're set, man. You know, there are certain instances where that makes sense, especially when you're trying to have an effective strategy for the super long term. But on the short term, if you're on a medium term play on NBIS stock, then it doesn't matter. You could buy in the middle and just adjust your risk, right? Maybe that means having a support around 80 here. That's a support level that you would maybe set a stop, right? And then you're looking for, you could buy right now, but have larger margins for profit than that of your risk. So you can afford to lose. I buy at the top all the time. It's not a problem. People think it's like a problem. I buy more when things are red, but that's because probability is also a key here. Now, the probability is that you wouldn't want to buy right before earnings. It's like a roulette table, right? But the thing you'd want to do is wait after earnings, whatever direction it goes, probably won't sustain long, and we'll be able to make a decision on the stock after it makes its move right at market open. So we'll be watching there. So technicals, again, the support and resistance, all that matters, but really your risk to reward right now, I would just have patience. I wouldn't buy it. It's nothing here that really screams an opportunity for this short-term trade at the moment, especially with earnings. So I would just have patience. And that's really it for the risk to reward. Now, the full analysis that we went through as well, you can also go through on your own and have AI go through the process that I just went through with you. Now, what I've found, and this has been in my experience, is that when learning how to invest or getting your analysis right, trading stocks and spotting moves before the earnings, you have to see revenue that is coming in early, which we did see with Nebius. That's why we're paying attention to them, because they might have really good earnings, right? And that's the key, is seeing those moves, the moves that we saw, the Microsoft deals, the Meta data center deals for Nebius, that when you see that revenue hit before they've reported earnings, for long-term investors, that might be a really good advantage. And for that reason, I found that's one of the easiest ways to make money is to, once again, identify the moves early. So I hold a lot of stocks that I see them make deals and I say, well, whenever earnings come out, maybe they won't move up immediately, but that looks really good for them in the long term. Nebius is one of those stocks. When it comes to how that's attainable, how do you identify those things? How do you figure out when the stocks are the revenue is how do you spot that revenue increase before they report earnings, or just in general before the rest of the market kind of catches on? I've found that it's only attainable, at least on many different stocks at once, using something like Prophecy AI. So Prophecy AI uses the Grok, the OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, whichever model you want, and it goes through the analysis, all the different analysis we just went through with you here on autopilot. And that machine plugs in my exact system for the technical analysis, the fundamental analysis, into the best AI models in the world, like Grok and OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini. And I've only here have I noticed that we are the only company using the most real-time financial data. We have all the financial news, but the financial indicators and the financial setups that these models otherwise don't have, tuned with practices and processes to perform analysis on those things. So we have earnings coming up. I'm really excited to see what some of the models are projecting right after earnings. It's going to be so interesting to see what that looks like. And I found that the only way to really stay up to date, once again, is to be using AI. And we got the multi-model here. We have Claude pulled up. Claude is very bullish on Nebius. Look at Claude. I mean, they're saying 22% gain, whereas Grok is bearish a little bit. ChatGPT is very bearish on Nebius because some companies have different models, and that's what's key. I found Grok is really good for the short term. Gemini is great for the long term, and that's really it. So the short term, everything we're kind of looking at, we're gonna see how the models. You see some downward pressure into tomorrow. Let's see how they react tomorrow in their earnings. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if you want to tune in and get the full system for, remember, if you want the full system, save hours of research on your analysis and invest using AI tools to get a faster approach. I would encourage you. I'm going to show you exactly how to use AI. Just hit the link in the chat there that I pinned in the comment section, and we'll see you there tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's when the game changes. Show you exactly how to use AI, save hours of research while finding these setups before a lot of the market even moves. So you can join that first access link there. Go grab it. Feel free to drop, guys, tickers in the comments here before we wrap this session. I am writing down all the ticker symbols so that we can go over more in the next few videos, which I'm very looking forward to seeing you guys in the next one. So if you could just drop in the chat. You got Soluna. Alex says, Alex, thank you. Microcap Miner, thanks for dropping that one. Steve, people are rotating money out of the software. Decent amount ends up on data centers and chips. That can make a lot of sense, Steve. Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to think. All right. Meta is a safer buy. Yep. A 9 to 5 is a safer route than making money work for you. Okay. CoreWeave had major setback. Can be data center construction delays and lowered revenue guidance could happen to Nebius. That's possible. One thing to consider that could impact is the recent snowstorms. Maybe they say that they've got delayed. I know that was pretty big in certain areas. But I think that they already have the infrastructure built and they're already getting money from Microsoft and other companies for what they've built in the cloud. So that might actually surprise on earnings. So that's something to consider as well. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. LAES. Okay. I'm not big on that one. I've seen a lot of manipulation on that stock, but I do understand why people invest in it. So thank you for commenting there. Reincarnated 616. Appreciate you. Over 64 billion in data center projects being blocked or delayed between May 2024 and March 2025. Yeah, all right. Hear you. Where do you see that? Data center boom in that's Mississippi, with nuclear being approved to power them. Yeah, I've seen that as well. Very big. Yeah, very cool. Awesome, guys. All right. Well, hey, we'll be there at Market Open. If you guys want to tune on in live to our sessions, you can always join in the second link below to tune on in. We'll be there. We'd love to see you there. If you want to see our daily live trading, we're there every day. See my entries, see my exits in the markets, and tune on into the community. We also have the StockMate community really ramping up. We got some really cool new features, including AI analysis of what's going on in the community. I can even see what everyone's talking about. This is so cool. I can see what different members are searching and what stocks they're using inside of Prophecy. I can get into my daily live trading from here. I can see the earnings call or the earnings coming up. Man, so cool. Appreciate you all. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. And once again, yeah, live session, second link below. If you guys have any questions for me, Aluma. Okay, I'll take that one. Write that one down here, Michael. Cool. All right. Yeah, hopefully I earned your thumbs up. Do consider subscribing. See you guys in the next video. Take care.